All right, Ms. Acord.
Sir, can you please state and spell your full name for the record?
Yes. My name is Earl Gleam. First name is spelled E-A-R-L. Last name is Gleam, G-L-I-E-M.
And how are you currently employed?
I am a physical scientist, forensic examiner, working in the Firearms and Toolmarks Unit of the FBI Laboratory located in Quantico, Virginia.
Where did you attend school?
I attended school at West Virginia University. I received a Bachelor's of Science degree in Forensic and Investigative Sciences there. And more recently, I completed a Master's of Science at the University of Florida in Pharmaceutical Science with a concentration in Forensic Science as well.
What sort of professional training do you have?
So, as an examiner, as a physical scientist forensic examiner at the FBI Laboratory, before we are qualified to perform independent casework, we go through a training program at the laboratory to ensure that we have all of the proper educational requirements and skills to perform the tasks. Excuse me. So, when I first started at the Firearms and Toolmarks Unit, I went through the forensic examiner training program within that unit, which included required readings, exercises, simulated casework, and doing casework under the supervision of a qualified examiner, as well as completing numerous tests before I was qualified to perform independent casework.
Do you have any work experience in this field prior to your current position at the FBI?
So, before becoming a physical scientist forensic examiner in the Firearms and Toolmarks Unit, I worked as a forensic examiner in the latent print operations unit, and I worked there for approximately 4 years before coming to the Firearms and Toolmarks Unit. And I've been with the Firearms and Toolmarks Unit for about 9 years now.
Have you given any presentations in your field?
Yes, I have. I've given several case presentations about some of the cases that I've worked in my time as a forensic examiner there. I've also given numerous tours and presentations to groups about the FBI Laboratory and our unit as a whole.
And are you a member of any professional organizations or anything like that?
No, I am not.
Okay. Have you ever been qualified as an expert witness in a criminal court?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever been denied qualification as an expert witness in a criminal court?
No, I have not.
Your Honor, subject to cross-examination by the defense, I would move that this witness be treated as an expert pursuant to Rule 702.
All right, Mr. Selden, do you wish to engage in voir dire pertaining to this witness's qualifications?
One moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Yes, Your Honor, I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
What exactly are you being qualified as an expert in? What is your represented area of expertise?
So in the Firearms and Toolmarks Unit, my main job duties include the examination of tools and firearms, as well as the items that those tools and firearms come into contact with. I examine both the tools and firearms, determine the makes and models, as well as the types of actions that they can produce, as well as if any microscopic marks of value are present on the surfaces that they come into contact with. I can then do examinations on those marks to determine whether or not those marks were originated from a particular tool or not.
So what you're saying in summary is that you are an alleged expert in the external examination of these objects. Does that be a fair assumption or statement?
Could you explain what you mean by external?
You don't take the contents of, for instance, the vials out. You don't do any chemical analysis. You're talking about how the vial looks from an external view and a microscopic examination of the outside of these objects.
With an object like that, yes. I do not do any chemical examination.
No objection. Accept him.
All right, the court declares this witness to be an expert within his described field of forensic examinations. You may continue, Ms. Akert.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gleam, did you write a report in this case?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, I'd like to have marked what I am holding as State's Exhibit 19.
Yes, no, yes.
Sorry.
This is State's Exhibit number 19, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And this has been shown to the defense, Your Honor.
Very well.
Your Honor, permission to approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Gleam, I've handed you what is labeled as Laboratory Division Supporting Documentation Envelope. Can you look over that and advise the court if that is the report that you prepared in this matter?
State's Exhibit 19 is a copy of all of the material that I produced as part of this case, to include the report, my case notes, as well as some additional documentation as well.
And what items did you review in this case?
I reviewed, excuse me, well, there's two different designations that we use for them. In the laboratory, we assigned them item 2 and item 4. At the field office level, when they were first received by the field office, which was Pittsburgh in this case, they gave them the designators 1B1 and 1B2.
And I'm going to hand you what has been marked and entered as State's Exhibit 10 and State's Exhibit 14. Could you please open those and identify them for me?
Do I need gloves to handle them right?
No.
Do we have some gloves, Deputy Fry? Hold on and
Thank you.
we'll get some.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Eureka, we found a box of gloves. Can you message poor Stephen to tell him that we found some?
Thank you. That's okay.
They may be for children, however.
might go through the whole box. All right, I'm sorry, what was your original question?
Did you identify those items for me?
So,
States 10.
this one? So States Exhibit 10 is a vial.
And did you examine that vial?
So I don't see my marking specifically on it. However, most of it is covered with the States Exhibit sticker. It does appear very consistent with my photograph of the item 2 vial that I examined in the laboratory.
And when you refer to that photograph, I'm going to try to fix this. I know this is hard to see. I'll make this look better ones. Trying to make this as visible as I can for everyone in the room. Is this the set of photographs that you're referring to?
Yes, that's correct.
And what are we looking at in these photographs?
We're looking at the photographs that I took during my examination of the item 2 vial. There were numerous pieces, so I just took it from different angles, as well as the different components, as well as a close-up of the rubber stopper that I was asked to examine.
And before we move on to States 14, we'll just stick with States 10. What sort of testing did you perform on this stopper, this vial?
I was asked to examine the rubber area at the center here to determine if there were any puncture marks in the rubber top of the vial.
And what conclusions did you reach?
I did not detect any punctures or defects in that rubber stopper.
What does the lack of a puncture in that bottle indicate to you?
I need to interrupt. Are we talking about item number 2, which was later marked as item number IB-1? Is that what we are talking about?
That's my understanding of what we're talking about, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'll just repeat the last question. What does the lack of any puncture in the septum of this bottle indicate to you?
It indicates that it was not forcibly contacted by any other object to obtain the contents inside of it.
Now, could you please identify States Exhibit 14?
Yes.
Is that the same bottle that you performed testing on in your laboratory?
Yes, it is. This is the item 4 vial that I examined in the laboratory. And I recognize both my initials and name and date on the outer packaging, as well as some of the inner packaging here. Excuse me. As well as my initials on the item itself.
And the photographs that I've placed on the overhead that should also appear in front of you on that screen, are these photographs that you took of that bottle and septum during testing?
Yes.
And additionally, did you take these photographs of the septum during testing as well?
Yes, I did.
What sort of testing did you perform on States Exhibit?
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt for a moment. I'm getting a call from Dr. Banerjee. She's probably telling me she's not 100% sure.
Take the call.
Thank you. Your Honor, there is difficulty in Dr. Banerjee. She's, where's she approaching?
Yes, please. All right, please continue, Ms. Aker.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gleam, with regard to State's Exhibit 14, which is also identified as item number 4, what type of testing did you perform?
It was mostly a visual examination where I was looking for defects in that rubber top of the vial.
What were the results of that testing?
I detected one defect in the center of the rubber stopper that was consistent with a puncture mark that penetrated through the entire rubber stopper of the vial.
And has anything come to your attention since conducting your original testing on both State's Exhibit 10 and State's Exhibit 14 that would lead you to change any of your conclusions at this time?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor, and I would move State's 19 into evidence.
Any objection, Mr. Selden?
No objection, Your Honor.
State's exhibit number 19 will be admitted into evidence. You may cross-examine Mr. Selden.
Sorry, Your Honor, I need to get my copy of the report.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Stanley Selden. I'm co-counsel for the defendant, Natalie Cochran. Welcome to the courtroom.
Morning. Afternoon.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Gleam.
Gleam. Okay. As Gleam, even though that's not the spelling.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Excuse me, just a moment, Your Honor. I need to collect my thoughts on this.
All right.
It was a little confusing in some of the testimony. All right, Mr. Gleam, as to your report on item number 2, which I believe was state's exhibit number 10. I'm calling your attention to that one, okay?
Yes.
That was a vial that has a large top, and can we have the photographs of that so that we can put them on the viewer?
All right, who has the photographs?
Photographs are within the report, Your Honor.
Okay.
And hopefully I can get this on the viewer so everyone can see it.
Well, let's hope.
And could I get some assistance in turning this on?
It is okay.
Okay, good. There we go. Mr. Gleam, are these the photographs that you took of and I believe your description included item number 2. Is that correct?
Yes.
You did external examinations of this, and by that I mean you didn't empty out the contents, you didn't analyze the contents. That was done by somebody else, correct?
That's correct.
And you say no punctures or defects were present on the top or bottom of the surfaces of the rubber stopper. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
The metal ring, and I believe you're talking about this right here.
Yes.
You can see that? And that's the metal ring that would have been around here and right here. Is that right?
Correct. I didn't necessarily examine the metal ring because I believe it had been manipulated before it got to me to remove the contents.
So you can't make any conclusions about that because it was manipulated before it got to you.
Correct. I was only asked to examine the rubber stopper inside of the metal ring.
And this rubber stopper had no defects or punctures or anything like that that you could see. Is that right?
Not that I was able to detect.
Do you know what substances were represented to be in this vial by other testers?
No, I don't.
Very well. Let's look at this item, which is listed as item number 4. And these are photographs taken by you of this item, correct?
Yes.
Now, you said in examination of this item that you believe, and this item seems to indicate right here, this is Humalog insulin. Would you agree with that label?
Yes, that is how it was labeled.
Now, you say that upon examination, you believe that there was a puncture in the rubber piece right here, correct?
Yes, I believe you lost it on the top there.
I don't know what happened. I may have touched the button there. Okay, great, thank you. I think we're back on, and hopefully I won't touch anything again.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. This indication right here, with this circle that I believe you put on the photograph, right?
Yes, the dashed circle as well as that arrow to like kind of the top right were indicators put on the photograph by me to just give further clarification on the notes.
So from your examination, you believe that was a puncture in the rubber stopper, right?
Yes, that's correct.
You cannot tell if this was a single puncture or if there might have been, no, I'm going to scratch that. You cannot tell when this alleged puncture mark was made, correct?
No, I cannot.
Lieutenant Bledsoe, who gathered this item from, I believe it was 211 4H Lake Road, says that when he retrieved this item, it was full and unopened.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't believe that's ever been stated. Lieutenant Bledsoe has not even testified yet.
Yes, that's true. I must sustain the objection. You can rephrase, Mr. Selby.
Yeah. From a visual examination, you cannot tell if this was opened or not. You're only stating there was a puncture in the top, right?
Yes, I only observed I only examined the rubber stopper, and this is the result of my examination.
And from your examination, you can't tell who made this puncture mark, correct?
No, I cannot.
You did a visual examination of the bottle, etc. Were there any fingerprints on the bottle?
I did not examine the bottle for fingerprints.
A moment, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
And also, in addition to those questions, not only can you not tell who made the puncture mark, but you can't tell when it was made, correct?
No, I cannot.
One moment, Your Honor. I need to confer.
All right.
Now, the metal ring that you were talking about and that vial that may or may not have been opened, et cetera, you stated that, and that was item 2, I believe, you stated that had been manipulated previously, so you couldn't really tell much about it, correct?
Your Honor, may I refer to my notes? I made a note specific to the metal ring that might help me better answer that question.
Okay, is it in your report?
It's the same copy as the State's Exhibit 19. It's just my copy.
I can give him the report.
Okay, yeah, if you don't mind, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would it be all right if I stayed here?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just don't lean over too far.
Oh, sorry.
So on my notes, I indicated that the metal ring was loose and easily removed to separate the rubber stopper from the ring. So the metal ring appeared like it had been manipulated prior to myself receiving it because it was so easily removable.
Okay, and I want to show that on the viewer. This is the vial, not the one marked Humalog. It has a label that represents methylprednisone, and you believe, based on your examination, that this one was manipulated, correct?
Well, I don't have all of the documents from the other units of the laboratory, but I believe it did go to other units of the laboratory before I received it. So it's possible that they might have removed that ring to access the contents. It's possible.
Item number 4. From a visual examination of this bottle, can you tell if it's full of liquid or not?
I believe it was empty when I received it.
So how do you believe the contents were removed?
I don't have any information on that.
I need to confer with counsel one more time, and I think I'm wide.
Okay.
Now, according to your report, items number 2 and items number 4 were found approximately 4 to 5 months after Michael Cochran's death on February 11th of 2019. Is that correct?
I'm not aware of when they were recovered. Well, could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. There are various documents appended to your report, which you reviewed. It's part of your report. From that description, do you believe this item was seized by police or other authorities approximately 4 months after Michael Cochran's death on February 11th of 2019?
I don't have any awareness of the collection of this item of evidence. I can only speak to when it was received into the FBI laboratory and when I worked it in the laboratory, and that's all I can say about the the custody of that item.
Okay, I'm going to hand you this report back. I have a few more questions. So looking at that report, when were these two items, number 2 and 4, received in your laboratory?
So, to best answer your question, this evidence, I don't have the full chain of custody printouts for each of these items present in my notes printouts. That's information that's typically part of the evidence management unit package that is created for these items that kind of covers the whole lifespan or the whole chain of custody of the movement of the items through the entire laboratory.
Right, and I'm not asking you about all that. I just want to know when these two items came into the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, as far as your investigation.
So the initial communication from the field office about this request for laboratory examinations was initiated on February 9th, 2021.
Okay. And so it can be assumed that came into Quantico about February of 2021.
Yes, approximately. So the communication was initiated on February 9th, and then the initial notes done by the evidence management unit were created on February 10th of 2021.
Okay. So Michael Cochran passed away February 11th of 2019, and this crucial evidence has come into your lab 2 years later. Is that what you're saying?
Those are the dates that are indicated as when we received items in this case.
Okay. You were assigned the items on July 30th of 2021, and you completed your report January 31st of 2022. Isn't that right?
Yes, that appears correct.
Okay. Almost 4 years after Michael Cochran's death, correct? If his death occurred February 11th of 2019.
I'm not familiar with the specifics of the case, but if his death occurred in 2019, I completed my exams in 2022, that would be 3 years.
Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Redirect Ms. Aker.
Mr. Gleam, through your investigation of State's Exhibit 14, the bottle that is labeled Humalog, I believe also identified as item 4, is it true that you were unable to determine how many times an object had passed through the puncture you identified?
Objection as to the form of the question is leading.
I'll rephrase, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Were you able to determine how many times any item had passed through that puncture?
No, I was not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further, Mr. Selden?
No, Your Honor.
All right, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step down, Mr. Gleam. You are
you.
excused.
Thank you.
Make sure you leave all the exhibits here, please,
Yes, sir.
and our gloves.
Yes, sir. I broke more than I used.
That's all right. We won't charge you. Members of the jury, we'll take our lunch break now. Please do not expose yourselves to any reports online, on the radio, or on TV concerning this case. Obviously, you see cameras in the courtroom. You know that this case is being filmed. Again, I want you to make an independent decision at the